for all these 5-6 top technology companies, India matters a lot because everybody was here standing with the Prime Minister of India, right? One thing which bothers in terms of business development is the purchasing power of India. That's why everybody wants to bet on India's potential, but they're not very serious about actually investing left, right, center here. And this potential power, purchase power, all this potential of India conversation has been there since almost a decade now.
Look, you have...
What is our stand on, like, where do we stand in terms of purchase power?
No,
be honest.
I'll be honest with you. Look, I have what I call the Hermes Power Index. How many Hermes stores are there in a country? And you know, I don't want to specify countries and all because my numbers might be wrong and they will, you know, the audience comments is going to roast you tomorrow. But I'm just saying, you know, just as a you know, pilot exercise, people should look at the number of Hermes stores in India versus the number of Hermes stores in Germany versus the number of Hermes stores even in Singapore or Dubai or, you know, or UAE. Just look at that. That will tell you that will give you one slice of elite purchasing power. And that's one story. But that is not necessarily the story that should shape the entire conversation. There's a second slice. How much energy does India consume? And that's the number 3rd in the world. How much food does India consume? It's number 2 in the world. How much commodity does India produce? Steel, cement, etc. You would see us in top 2, 3, 4 rankings in all of those. That's the second part of the story, right? I'm just giving you slices.
Yeah.
So one is the elite consumption. One is the mass consumption. One is the utility consumption, right? But what is one thing that we are champions at? Where we are number 1 in the world? Data consumption. No one consumes more data than India. We are the undeniable number 1 data hungry population of the world. And that is why technology companies were standing with the Prime Minister. They see us as not, they don't want returns on their investment from us. They want our data. They are coming to you to extract your data.
Isn't it double-edged sword?
If copper and coal and steel was, iron ore was the resources that built the 2nd industrial revolution, data is going to build the 4th and 5th industrial revolution. So they are standing here because you are sitting on the largest treasure trove that will help them define their language models and their quantum capabilities and their data hungry digital solutions. Are we pricing that resource right? Are we ensuring that that resource, although available, creates value here at home? Or are we no different to many African countries where iron ore and minerals and materials are taken out and value created in distant shores? I'm just in a frame. So to answer your question, they were standing here because we are the data champions.
But isn't that double-edged sword? That's my point.
I'm saying that it is. So I think because we are the largest consumers and therefore the producers of data, we are very attractive. The double-edged sword is that our data is someone else's bottom line, is someone else's GDP growth, is someone else's national security. I am underwriting someone else's economy. When Donald Trump says that you guys have used us, sorry. All your trillion-dollar digital platforms have Indian, blood and toil underwriting it. And have we taxed you for it? Have we sought a share of profit in most of the resource sectors, you have a production sharing contract where X amount of money has to be given to the geography or the owner of the geography.
We should.
So, for example, so I'm saying that the India's attraction is certainly its market, not in necessarily the Hermes variety or market, but in this new age economy shaping resource availability, which is data. We are big because our markets produce data and consume data, and that is why we are attractive, and that's undeniable. And they're not looking you to give them, for example, in your own business, your viewership, Indian viewership will get you hardly any royalty from YouTube. Your American viewership will get you 5x, 7x, 10x of the royalty, right? I'm just giving you the price point. Yeah. But the fact is that they love you not because of your price of viewer. They love you because of the amount of data you are producing, which is more than anywhere else in the world. China has banned them. So where is the competition? They don't operate in China. So we are by miles. I mean, let me put it this way. I'll tell you something. Biopharma. Let's take the biotech and the medical and the health sector. Chinese are going to, in the next 2 to 3 years, outstrip any Western innovation. They're already doing that. They're miles ahead. Why? They have the size. Without us, they can't do it. And we should not allow them to do it. Unless we get a full economic return on our being able to share our capabilities. So I think...
why can't they do it?
They don't have the same kind of data diversity and depth. How can they compete? End of the day, you have to realize that the Chinese are going to outmuscle all of them. Size matters. Robert Heinlein, a famous science fiction author, once said that in the universe, many forces do many battles. One always wins, gravity. And gravity is about size. And size matters. And we must be cognizant of this. We must price it and value it. We have become too generous in sharing it. बहुत ज़्यादा generous हो गए.
Maybe. You have a point.
Yeah. So look, it is a double-edged sword.
But in Silicon Valley, they call us Dow farms. Daily active user farms, because every 10 million users in India, a rise bump gives them a stock market rise in probably Nasdaq, because a lot of people quote it as significant added new users, not as India specific users, and then that gives them a good bump.
But it's mostly us.
Yeah. So for example, I'm just giving for example, let's say X platform has 100 million users. Next year, in their annual general meeting, they'll post that now they have 140 million users. Those 40 million users would be from India. They're not paying, they're nothing. But Nasdaq will value them differently, that last year this platform was 100 million, today they're at 140 million, so they're growing. And that every user, probably they're not making money here, but that stock market price gives them
the valuation they are getting is the dollar valuation for an Indian user. And
exactly.
They're paying the Indian viewer a tenth of what they pay an American viewer.
Yes.
So they are actually gaining twice.
Yeah. So the cost arbitrage between valuation versus what they spend here is insane. That's
a very interesting point. That they benefit from American valuation and they pay the Indian wages in some sense. That's the...
So they increase their value based on dollars.
That's like an expat salary in India. Earning $1 salary and living in India. Okay. I think that's a fair point. No, so coming back to the US, I think we need to engage more, invest more, build more bridges, link more states to our states. Para-diplomacy, sub-national diplomacy, sub-sovereign diplomacy has to be strengthened. Next time around, we need to be sure that we don't allow surprises like this to happen. We should not have middleman from one of our neighboring countries run away with the American presidency. We should not allow that to happen. Now,
how can we not allow that? That's on him.
Because we should have enough of those there to prevent that from happening. We should have the better offer on the table for whoever is going to be the next president. We should be the first comer. I don't think we should allow. Like I said,
just by sheer size and the influence that we hold today, we can't go there and bow down, just like our neighboring country.
You don't have to bow down.
Yeah. That's why they're always going to win in front of a powerful, let's say, a president who enjoys that kind of power. We can't do that ever.
No. See,
we can't bow down and do that. So no matter what we do, we won't be able to compete with that kind of muscle, because that muscle is just surrender. We can't surrender.
Raj, number one, I think a very important point. And I think that these are two distinct streams of consciousness. One, I am very happy and satisfied with the fact that we have decided to hold the line.
Exactly.
That's one stream of consciousness. The second is being there to do the deal. It's not bowing down. My point here is that would it be better for us if we would know the KYC, what we do, know your customer much in advance, And that's what I'm advocating. I'm not asking for compromising on either our sense of self, our directions, our strategic aspirations. No, I think that should be absolutely a given in our political decision making. And by the way, that's another that's something that we can take satisfaction from. That irrespective of the government of the day in India, from 1947 till today, India has largely been able to do that. Across prime ministers and across political parties, we have not compromised on our essential national interest. And by the way, they've also remained unchanged. Our politics and our noise and our politics can keep changing, but the core of India's proposition to the world and what it seeks from the world has remained largely within a very narrow band of political design, and that must not be changed. However, we must know our customer, and all I'm saying is that we must not allow someone else to do that deal, and we must be standing there before that happens. And in that sense, we must engage, invest, and sustain relationships across the political spectrum, whether it is in the big countries like the US, but also in the neighborhood like in Bangladesh. I was telling someone that it's right we defended Sheikh Hasina. Perhaps what we missed out on, that we are not invested in the opposition party as well. In our neighborhood, we must engage with everyone. We must support those in charge, and those who are against it must also have a relationship with us. Big countries will have to engage with all sides of every conversation, and we have to do it. I think India has to learn how to do that part. We have to invest in all sides of every conversation. Can you imagine? America has literally funded every side of every conflict in the last 70, 80 years.
America has funded 70 years. Last 70 years, America has funded every war.
Correct. Every war and both sides of the war. It's somehow or the other. So, but I'm not saying we have to do that. We are not. We are not a nation.
It cost also some.
Correct. And engineered many. But that's not our aspiration. But I'm saying we should create for us, we are an ideas civilization. We are an ideas nation. We must have conversations with everyone. We must engage with everyone. And by the way, I think one of our success stories has been those conversations. The naysayers were predicting a decline or a death of our relationship with Sri Lanka, with Maldives, with Bangladesh. Nothing like that happens, boss. Right? We are folks who are good at conversations.
That's a strength, by the way.
किसी ने मेरे से पूछा कि आप सारी दुनिया में कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होस्ट कर रहे हैं, बुडापेस्ट डायलॉग और येरेवान डायलॉग और जकार्ता फ्यूचर्स फोरम और केप टाउन कॉन्वर्सेशंस, आप हर जगह कॉन्फ्रेंसेस डाल रहे हैं. मैंने कहा देखिए, चाइनीज आर गुड एट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, दे आर बिल्डिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. इंडियंस आर गुड एट कॉन्वर्सेशन, वी शुड बी बिल्डिंग कॉन्फ्रेंसेस. एवरीवेयर Chinese have big economic interests, we should create a policy dialogue and complicate and make those people more aware of what they are entering into by signing on to the BRI or any other project. So we must do what we are good at, creating dialogue around questions which are important for people. And that's what we have done as a think tank. We have gone all around the world to get people to start participating in conversations that will allow them to make rational decisions. I always tell the world that please make a rational choice. India is your rational choice. If we can get you to that place where you will choose rationally, we are your choice.
But tell me, does it help? Does the dialogue help, or always the economic power overtakes the dialogue?
Always the economic power overtakes the dialogue.
Then?
Without doubt. But dialogue with economic power is absolutely, the winner. So if you can have the dialogue and have an economic offer alongside it, it's crazily successful. And I'll tell you what, go to.
But today we don't have that.
I'll give you one sector example. Look at if you have your phone with you, go to mosip.io, mosip.io, and it'll tell you. I mean, I don't know the exact number now. I haven't looked it up, but it'll tell you around 200 odd million people around the world are using some form of the India stack, digital ID, etc. 200 million odd, 20 odd countries, 11 national rollouts, 47 partner countries, etc., etc. Large number of people are
the India finance stack that we built, right?
The UPI, the digital
Aadhaar
ID, the Aadhaar, the digital ID. So they are using these open source solutions that we have created, right? We have built out, and people are embracing it, using it. We have an economic proposition alongside the conversation. So a conversation which allows us to become relatable, which allows us to become trustworthy, which allows us to become someone they can rely on, alongside a economic proposition such as a stack. Could be some other thing. Could be infrastructure. Could be bridges. Could be. By the way, we are competing in Africa. We have cars in Africa. We have two-wheelers in Africa. You know, if you look at who is
Telecom
competing
now.
with telecom, we have telecommunication networks in Africa. If you look at the African continent, who is giving China a run for the money? It's not the European Union or the Americans. It's the Indians.